Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. So when I was a kid, I had a lot of different hobbies, and usually they'd last for a few months and then I was on to the next one. One of these hobbies was magic. I brought a few courses, I got a few different books, and I learned a few different tricks. And for a while there, I was convinced that I would be a magician when I grew up. Now, obviously that didn't quite work out. But I have an appreciation for people who study magic and they spend years and years mastering sleight of hand to make an audience see things that aren't really there. Now, right now, the undisputed top magician in the world is David Blaine. He's been doing performances for as long as I can remember, ever since I was a little kid, multiple decades. His career is the definition of longevity. Now, his latest trick, or better termed stunt, is floating up into the sky, right up to the beginning of space, being suspended with balloons. It's called Ascension, and he actually just did it a few days ago. So this is quite an incredible stunt. It's very risky. He's got a parachute, so he's going to be dropping, or by the time you see this, he would have already done it, but he dropped from the sky and came down on his parachute. So it was very risky, very exciting, quite incredible. But all the stunts that he's done over his career, they're not so much about magic, they're more about pushing his body to the furthest physical limits possible. Like the time he held his breath underwater for over 17 minutes on Oprah. Now, some trivia for you, that world record has since been broken and it's now 24 minutes and a little bit more. Some of his most famous other stunts. So for example, he did one called Buried Alive in 1999, where he spent 7 days in an underground plastic box located under a 3-ton water-filled tank. He could only communicate with the outside through a hand buzzer, and he didn't eat or speak the entire time. Next, it was Frozen in Time, where in 2000 he spent 2 days in a large block of ice located in Times Square in New York City. And a tube supplied him with water and air, and a tube took his urine out. Now, after 63 hours, 42 minutes, and 15 seconds, he was removed with chainsaws and taken to a hospital immediately to prevent him going into shock. It took him an entire month to recover. Then in 2012, he did Electrified, which is where he spent 72 hours on an electrified high pillar in New York City, with 1 million volts of electricity all around him continuously. And he had to wear a special costume to prevent the electricity traveling through his body. And he didn't eat or sleep for those 72 hours. Now, there's been a lot of other stunts that he's done besides those, too many to explain here, but what I find the most fascinating about David Blaine and his stunts is they show how far the human body can go. They show all these limits that most of us we didn't really realize they were even possible. And I always like to remind myself that as hard as I think I'm working, or as hard as I'm pushing myself in the gym, the reality is, like most people, I'm probably operating at just 40% capacity. So in those times where you have an extreme deadline, you've got extreme consequences, extreme pressure, things get done faster, you reach your limits that you didn't really think were quite possible. You work longer, you work harder, the intensity is just far greater. We're capable of far more than what we achieve. All of us are. We're always operating at a small percentage of what is possible. And the problem is, again, all of us, we like to seek out comfort zones. We don't really want to stretch ourselves too far. We can do it temporarily, but usually we don't like to push ourselves to the very limit. And so what David Blaine does, I find it quite incredible, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's pushing his body to the very limit. That's why occasionally you'll see me doing these little challenges. So for example, where I get up at 5:30 a.m., which by the way, is not really an accomplishment, but I do that for 10 days. That to me, that's pushing myself fairly hard, because I don't usually get up that early. Or when I did 30 live streams in 10 days. So the reason why I do these little 10-day challenges is because I realize most of the time I'm operating in a comfort zone, and we all do that. And what I'm saying to you is that when you announce your goals publicly, they don't have to be as crazy as David Blaine's are, but when you announce them publicly and you pick goals that you know is going to really stretch you, it's really going to push you, that's how you break out of those comfort zones. So what I'm going to do is these 10-day challenges that I've started doing, I've given them a name. I'm calling them Strive Challenges. And I'm going to be doing a lot more, and I want to invite you to do them with me. And here's how it's going to work. The first thing you need to do is join my private Facebook group. It's completely free. It won't cost you a cent. There'll be a link somewhere below this video. But join this group, and you're going to see some other Strive members and just a real a community in there. And so what we do is we pick these goals, these things that are going to stretch us, and for 10 days, we have to post proof that we're taking the necessary action steps. Now, your goals might be for your career. You might want to work harder, you might want to go further, so you're going to do something that's really going to stretch you in the next 10 days in your career. It could be putting out content. It could just be working harder, longer hours. Now, this could also be fitness. Perhaps you want to get in great shape, and you know that you're just cruising along and you could be doing better. So instead of going to the gym once or twice a week, you're going to go every day. Or instead of going every day, you're going to go twice a day. So you pick these goals that you know are going to stretch you, and then you announce them in the group. You say that this is my Strive Challenge. They all go for 10 days. That's the minimum time. I recommend 10 days. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. And so I'm going to announce this in my group. I encourage you to join the group and announce your goals, and everyone else will then keep you accountable. And all you have to do is you post in that group, and then each day you comment under your post with some kind of proof that you did it. So if you want to get up at say 4 a.m. every day for the next 10 days and go and work out for an hour, if that's going to push you, then post proof that you're doing it. And to really take things to the next level, add a consequence in there. So if someone catches you not doing it, you don't post the proof, you're going to PayPal them $100, something like that. But there's got to be a deadline, there's got to be a public accountability, and there's got to be some kind of consequence. And so I'm going to be doing this. One of my goals is to do a live stream every single day. The other goal is to get up at 6 a.m. every day, which again, for a lot of people is nothing, but for me, that's pretty early. So join the group, post your Strive goal, and I will also help keep you accountable as well. That's it for today. Take action, and I'll see you tomorrow.